Marami sana akong itatanong sa iyo, but I will condense it to two very important questions. Being front and center and within the inner circle of the Marcos admin for quite a few months, I just would like to ask your evaluation on the current management dynamics within the foreign policy circle of the President. Una dyan, yung nangyari nga na insidente na Ayungin on June 17, na wherein one of our Naval Operations Special Operations Group frogmen lost a finger kasi nga nagirian doon, no? And during that time, between June 17 and June 24, it was apparent that there was no clear statement and stand ating gobyerno. No? They were flip-flopping on their statements, starting with AFP Chief Browner, I think the day after the incident. And then you have the spokesman for the National Task Force for West Philippine Sea, Commodore Tariela, also condemning China. And then on the 21st of June, you have the chairman of the National Maritime Council, Executive Secretary Bersamin, apparently de-escalating the rhetoric and calling it an accident or perhaps misunderstanding. However, on the 24th of June, you have the Defense Secretary Kiko Chodoro re-escalating his rhetoric, calling China a parang barbaric act nga, no? What China did. And he also reiterated that position during the hearing of Senator Imy's Foreign Affairs Committee. So, ang tanong ko, Atty. Vic, this is my first question. And I would add to it na lang, why is it now that there seems to be a disconnect between our diplomatic stance and our diplomatic statements, which are now being aired by military men? You hardly see our diplomats, even the most respected journalist, Jaime Flor Cruz, who is our ambassador in Beijing, is apparently silent. So, that's one question. Ano nga ba, who is running our diplomatic policy? Who is, sinong nag-architect ngayon? Is it our chief diplomat or our top diplomat, our president, who is de facto our chief architect of foreign policy and commander-in-chief? Or is it somebody else? That's number one. Number two is the June 14 expose of Reuters, which has grabbed headlines all over the world, that there was indeed a Pentagon-sponsored disinformation campaign against Sinovac in 2020 to 2021. It was reported by Reuters. It was picked up by all media globally. However, mainstream media in the Philippines, I'm so sorry to say, was not, shall I say, hindi masyadong pinikap, hindi masyadong kinover, and in fact, hindi nga parang pinalampahala na lang or something to that effect, no? Which now brings me again to my second question. I've heard the first time you called social media the new media in one of your Maisog Leaders Forum. I think it was somewhere in Luzon. Now you are also repeating it now that social media is the new media. So my question now is, how do you see the role of social media people like me and people, our friends here from social media, in this era of seemingly, information wars between the two sides, China and the Philippines, and sadly and very unfortunately, we, the Philippines, are being caught in between. And I remember exactly what President Duterte said. If two elephants go to battle, ang pinakakawawa ay yung gandamo, ang grass, or something to that effect. Thank you.
Tama yan. In fact, yung sinabi rin yan ni then BBM, kandidato siya, na ano ang stand niya sa South China Sea issue. Ang kanya naman, kapag ka bumahing ang Estados Unidos o China, bumahing lang yan, mabubura na ang Pilipinas sa mapa. Kaya analogy, same with the line of PRRD. Kasi totoo naman na huwag niyong tingnan na vloggers lang kayo. Kayo na ang new media. The only difference, ladies and gentlemen, my dear vloggers, yung katotohanan, malakas lang di habang kumita sa inyo yung traditional media because of their prime time advertising spot. But in the way and the manner you carry out information, hindi kayo mabilis. Real time kayo. You can report and upload events as they happen. Huwag kayong ma-intimidate diyan sa mga traditional media. Wala na yan. Bakit kayo pinanunood ng libo-libo ninyong followers? Whether real time or replay. Dahil sukang-suka na sila sa sugar-coated na balita. Alam naman ng tao na hindi na rin totoong balita ang lumalabas sa traditional media. I'm not afraid to speak this way. Ang pushback lang naman niya, babanatan talaga ng babanatan niya. Yun nga. Talagang ganun. Ang pinaka-kinamumuhian ng mga taong nagsisinungaling ay yung nagsasabi ng katotohanan. And in telling the truth, there is really a price to pay. It's just up to that person or to that group if you're willing to confront that threat na babalatan ka na. Ganun talaga ang buhay. May gawin ka o wala, babalatan ka. Di gawin mo yung tama. Yan, siya naman. Kaya huwag niyong isipin yung sarili niyo na second class media. No. You are at par. And the way most of you present your discourse to the public through your platforms, I tell you, mas kadhanga-hanga pa ang inyong diskurso. Of course, hindi mo maiiwasan iba dyan, nagre-content, at ang trabaho lang sa buhay ay manira, ay kumana. Huwag na natin pansinin, walang society perfect. May ganun talaga And you just have to take the good with the bad. That's life. Sige lang. But huwag kayong yung sama sa mga kalsada, huwag kayong mababanghimuhan sa traditional media. You are already at par with them. And keep on improving. And continue elevating the public discourse the way you have presented yung inyong mga platform. At kaya nga from the beginning sinabi ko, papasalamat ako sa inyo. Because I do not know how far will be the gains of hakbang ng mag-iso without the new media, without social media, without you. Kaya muli on behalf of hakbang ng mag-iso, maraming salamat sa inyo. Now, to your question, number one, flip-flopping, magulo-magulo, iba sinasabi nito, iba sinasabi nito, simply because walang leader. Absent yung leader. And this has been my message in Davao City as early as January. Yung ang pinag-uusapan pa lang ay yung chapter change that the president must step up. He just needs to assert his presidency and his authority. Parang po, iba yung sinasabi, yung mga pilit na nag-diffuse using your term and de-escalated tension, only to be openly and publicly rebuked by another man from the same administration, only to be rectified, the statement to be rectified after a day or two. Consistent naman sila. Consistent sila sa pagiging inconsistent. Consistent sila ron. Totoo yung they're very consistent in their inconsistencies. And that is why naririto na tayo sa napipintong tingnan. Sino ba ang nagprovoke noong June 17 incident? Ang China ba ang umagrabyado sa Pilipinas? O ang Pilipinas dahil meron unseen but obvious hand, big hand na nagmamaniobra nito, ang nagtutulak para magkiskisa ng ating mga puwersa dyan sa South China Sea. Someone you said called that act barbaric. And again, that is following the American line of propaganda. Are they really sure our friends, our American friends, gusto ba talaga nilang pag-usapan yung pagiging barbaric? Because we will go back to that part of our history. Sometime 1902, what they did in Sabah sa mga kababayan ng Bisayari. They turned Sabah into a howling wilderness. Let's not forget the Asian American Colonel Jacob Smith, I think, eventually ended his military career as a general, nag-promote pa. Pero sinulog niya ang kanyang mandato sa kanyang sundalo. If you want to make me happy, kill more people, burn more houses, take no prisoner. Yan ang gusto ko, pakainin lahat. Lahat ng 10 years old up, at lahat ng gumagalaw, sunugin ninyo. Hindi ba barbaric ang tawag ko? So, balik tayo sa sinasabi ko, interest kasi dapat meron ng Pilipino ang ating pinutuha, hindi ng Amerikano. Disgrasya tayo pag-interest ng Amerikano. Ang kailangan natin makakain, yung basic muna. Ang kailangan ng Pilipino, pag-aralin yung kanilang mga anak sapagkat ganun pa rin naman yung storya eh. 30, 40 years ago, kailangan anak matapos ka para nang sa ganun, pag ikay nagkaroon ng degree, hopefully magkatrabaho ka, bubuti ang estado natin sa buhay. Yan ang pa rin ang storya. 30, 40, 50 years down the road, yun pa rin ang storya. Ibig sabihin, hindi na tayo naalis sa point A. Hindi na tayo napunta sa point D, E, F, G. Napako tayo sa point A. Yung kwento noon, kwento pa rin ngayon. Eh pag pumasok pa tayo sa digmaan, pupunta tayo sa negative A. Kung may mas mababa pa sa negative A, doon ang punta natin. Paatras tayo ng paatras, hindi na tayo usad. Now, I'm taking notes of what you've said. Dapat ang DFA ang may mandato pagkadating sa foreign policy or issues with foreign nation. Hindi ang military, hindi ang Coast Guard, hindi ang armadong ahensya o component ng ating gobyerno. It must be someone coming from the Department of Foreign Affairs. Pagkat yan ay yung panlabas ng pakikipag-ugnayan sa mga bansang, sa mga independent state and nations, hindi pwedeng military. We might be accused of us, the one militarizing the issue. Iba yung sinasabi ng civilian authority. He will be, alam niya, nasusundan niyo, I will not name names. But this guy openly rebuked somebody who is much, much higher than him in the hierarchy of governance. You're just there at the bottom, not to demean him. But you do not rebuke in public somebody who is much, much higher than you, if not the ultimate representation of the president. Why are they allowing him to do that? Somebody must be moving him. Somebody more powerful than the one that he publicly rebuked. So who is leading this country? Sino ba ang leader? Nasaan ang ating hingay? Yun ang kinakailangan natin makita. Now, yung sa vaccine scam, nung pananakot noong COVID pandemic, iba na rin ang naratibo, di ba? Na, alam mo, tumulong sa atin. Lahat ng tulong kailangan natin dahil nagsa tayo kung talaga tanggapin natin yun. Hindi tayo pwedeng choosy, ay mahirap tayo. Kung sinong tutulong, sinong sasaklolo, lalo na ng panahon ng pandemya. Of course, very good. Pero mahirap naman yung pamukha na generous sa atin ang Amerikano. Because remember, well, namin bigay na salamat. Pero dumating yan, nung apaw na yung supply nila ng vaccine. They have to secure first their population. Okay yun. Natural yun. 2 inches old, pandemya yan. Pero huwag naman ipamukha na generous kami sa inyo. Nagbigay kami ng so much because what you've given us is not coming from what little you have, but rather from the excess of what you have. Hindi generosity yun, surplus yun. You have flooded us with vaccines na sobra-sobra sa inyo. Pero nung gipitan, alam mo na kayo, na yung population ko, okay lang din yun, ganun talaga eh. Hindi natin mababago yung katotohanan na sa ating president. Again, at the pain of being accused as traitor and pro-China, ang direksyon ng China nun eh, to save humanity. Bigay niyo yung available vaccines, happy, and we will produce more. But, wala silang propaganda machine kagaya ng Estados Unidos. But that's between them. The two superpowers, problema niya. Ang sinasabi ko lang, bilang tulong sa'yo, tinulong ko tayo. Babalik tayo sa charter change. Yan, ilan na ba ang talagang basis ng Amerikano dito brought about by EDCA? Babalik tayo sa ating karapatang malaman. Binanggit ko kanina, Article 13, Section 16. Of course, inususunod pa yan ng Article 2. Section 28, yung ating right to know, at yung Article 3, Section 27, yung right to information on public matters, on public interest. Bakit walang nagpapaliwanag sa atin? They are keeping us in the dark. Hindi tayo kapritsoso na humihingi ng bagay na malaman dahil gusto lang natin. Dahil yan, ay nakaukit sa ating saligang batas. Ang hinihingi natin, yung sinisigaw natin, respect the Constitution. When you respect the Constitution, that goes without saying, you're going to accord your every citizen, every Filipino, respect that is due him. And at least, yung ating karapatang malaman sa mga patungo, ano ba ang katotohanan, paano yung ginagastos ang pera sa kapatid.